Level 1. The Script Kiddie. You're 15 years old. Your room smells like stale pizza and ambition. You just downloaded a program called NetSlayer from a forum that required 3 VPNs just to load. You don't know how it works. You don't even know what UDP flooding means. You just know that a kid named ShadowSlayer202 called you a loser in a gaming lobby, and now you want his world to stop. You type in his IP address. Your heart is hammering against your ribs like a trapped bird. You click execute. Nothing happens for 5 seconds. Then his character stops moving. He disconnects. The lobby goes silent. You feel a surge of electricity that has nothing to do with your computer. You've just committed your first digital hit. You think you're a hacker. You're not. You're a kid with a stolen master key standing in front of a door you aren't supposed to open. You're wearing a hoodie because you saw it in a movie, even though it's 90 degrees in your room and your mom is screaming that your laundry is done. You think the FBI is outside. In reality, the only person watching you is your cat, and she's unimpressed. But as you celebrate, a message pops up on your screen. Not from the game. From your own operating system. It says, "Nice shot, kid. But you left your back door open." Your webcam light flickers on. Someone is looking back at you. Level 10. The Fisher. Fast forward 3 years. You didn't get arrested. The person who watched you through your webcam? They didn't call the cops. They sent you a link to a private chat room. That was your first lesson. In the underground, talent is more valuable than morality. You've moved past NetSlayer. You've learned that the weakest part of any computer isn't the software. It's the human sitting in front of it. You're a Fisher. You spend your days crafting perfect lies. You've made a pixel-perfect replica of a major bank's login page. You send out 10,000 emails titled, "Urgent, unusual activity on your account." 9,999 people delete it. But one person, one tired accountant at a mid-sized logistics firm clicks it. He enters his password. Bingo. You're not just in his email, you're in his life. You see his bank balance. $42,000. It's more money than you've ever seen. Your mouse hovers over the transfer button. This is the moment your life changes. Do you stay a prankster or do you become a criminal? You've become so paranoid about your own tricks that you haven't opened an email from your own grandmother in 6 months. "Nice try, Nana," you whisper, but that cookie recipe is clearly a Trojan horse. You take the money. $42,000 vanishes from his account and lands in your encrypted wallet. But as the balance hits zero, the accountant's screen changes. A chat window opens. It's a message from the ghost. It says, "Thanks for the distraction. While you were stealing his lunch money, I was stealing the firm's entire database. I'll be seeing you at level 20. Level 20. The Social Engineer. You have realized that the ghost was right. $42,000 is lunch money. If you want real power, you have to stop thinking like a thief and start thinking like a ghost yourself. You've mastered the art of the reveal. You don't send emails anymore. You use your voice. You've spent weeks studying the CEO of a tech startup. You know he's currently in London for a conference. You call the company's IT help desk. You've used AI to clone the CEO's voice perfectly. "Hey, it's Mark," you say, sounding stressed and rushed. "I'm at the airport, my laptop just broke, and I need the bypass code for the secure server for the board meeting in 10 minutes. Help me out or we're both fired." The IT guy is terrified. He doesn't want to be the reason the CEO fails. He gives you the code. He even apologizes for the inconvenience. You hang up and exhale. You're inside the heartbeat of a multi-million-dollar company. You've gotten so good at lying that you accidentally convinced your neighbor you're a professional deep-sea diver just because you didn't feel like explaining what you actually do. You're browsing the company's private files when you find a folder labeled Project Architect. It's encrypted with a level of security you've never seen before. You try to brute force it, but suddenly your entire system freezes. Every screen in your room turns bright red. A voice comes through your speakers. Not an AI, a real person. You're getting warm, kid. But you're about to get burned. Before you can react, your front door kicks open. It's not the FBI. It's a cleanup crew in black suits. And they aren't here to arrest you. The extraction. Your door doesn't just open, it's deleted. A flashbang turns your world into white noise and searing light. You're on the floor, your ears ringing with a high-pitched scream that might be the flashbang or it might be you. Two men in charcoal gray tactical suits. No badges, no flags, no names, haul you up by the collar of your hoodie. One of them isn't looking at you. He's looking at your server rack. He taps a handheld device against your router. Your screens, once filled with the Project Architect files, go dark. Total digital blackout. "You're coming with us," the lead operative says. His voice isn't angry, it's clinical. Like a surgeon talking to a patient he's about to open up. "Where?" You manage to choke out. "To the place where people like you go to disappear," he responds. They throw a black, sound-dampening hood over your head. You aren't a kid in a bedroom anymore. You're a high-value asset in a war you didn't even know was being fought. The car door slams, and the city sounds fade into a heavy, armored silence. The exit is locked from the outside. Level 30. The black site broker. The hood comes off in a room that feels like a submarine. No windows, just the hum of industrial cooling fans and the smell of ozone. You're in a black site, a facility that doesn't exist on any map, funded by money that isn't on any ledger. This is the Syndicate. They are the janitors of the digital world. They clean up the messes that would start a nuclear war. But you aren't selling stolen passwords for $50 a pop. You're brokering global stability. Your terminal is a direct tap into the fiber optic backbone of the internet. You spend 18 hours a day hunting for zero-day vulnerabilities in the control systems of major power grids and water treatment plants. You don't flip the switches. You just plant logic bombs, digital sleepers that sit quietly for years, waiting for a single command to paralyze a nation. You're paid in a private cryptocurrency that only works within the Syndicate's internal network. You can buy the finest steak in the world or a $20,000 watch. But you eat it, wear it, and use it in a concrete bunker. You're technically a multimillionaire, but you're currently having a mental breakdown because the high-tech espresso machine in the break room requires a 128-bit encryption key you don't have. You can hack a national bank, but you can't get a caffeine fix. I control the lights in 3 different capitals. You hiss at the machine, "Just give me the damn latte." Late one night, you use a backdoor you built into the ventilation system's internal sensors to eavesdrop on the director's office. You hear a voice you recognize. It's the kid from Level 1, the one you DDO set out of a game years ago. He's grown up. He's the Syndicate's top cleaner now. And he's telling the director that you are the security leak. He's been framed by the project architect to replace you. You have 6 minutes before the internal audit team arrives at your door. And an internal audit at a black site doesn't involve paperwork. It involves a suppressed pistol. Level 45. The zero-day mercenary. You didn't wait for the audit. You triggered a false positive fire alarm in the server core, flooding the floor with halon gas. While the guards scrambled for oxygen masks, you didn't run for the surface. You ran for the vault. You stole the Syndicate's master key, a single piece of code that can bypass the encryption on every major industrial system in the Western world. You're out. You are a level 45 mercenary. You're a ghost among ghosts. You're living in a glass-walled penthouse in a city that never sleeps, using 15 different burner identities. You don't work for a boss anymore. You work for the highest bidder. Or rather, you work for the market. You sell digital life insurance. You contact a massive shipping conglomerate and tell them, "You have a logic bomb in your automated port system." "I didn't put it there, the Syndicate did. Pay me 20 million and I'll give you the kill switch." You are the ultimate double agent, playing the predators against the prey. You're so deep in the spy life that you accidentally used a fake name and a French accent to order a pepperoni pizza from the place across the street. When the delivery guy asked if you were okay, you panicked and told him you were deep undercover for the IRS. You're at the top. You have the money, the tech, the view. But then your private secure line rings. A voice comes through, digitally altered, sounding like gravel being ground in a blender. "The insurance game is over," the voice says. "It's your old rival from Level 1. The Syndicate didn't hire me to kill you. They hired me to impersonate you. I'm currently at the port and I'm not defusing the bomb. I'm arming it. And I'm using your unique digital signature to sign the payload. In 10 minutes you aren't a hacker. You're a terrorist. And every drone in the sky is looking for your face. Unless you reach level 60. Level 60. The State-Sanctioned Ghost. You have 600 seconds. You can't run. The GPS in your penthouse already flagged your location. You can't fight. You're one person against a global cartel. So you do the only thing a level 60 can do. You trade up. You call a red line number, a direct link to the cyber defense command of a major world power. You make a deal. You give them the Syndicate's master key and in exchange they give you a national security waiver. You aren't a criminal anymore. You are a state-sanctioned ghost. You move from the penthouse to a sleek, windowless command center in the desert. You are now a digital janitor for the highest level of government. You spend your nights neutralizing threats before they hit the news. You have a team of level 20s and 30s who think you're a legend. You authorizes the black bag extractions now. You stopped the port from exploding, but you leaked the Syndicate's offshore accounts to the tax authorities. You didn't just win. You bankrupt the people who tried to frame you. You're sitting in your new office. It's sterile, perfectly white. The director walks in, a woman who looks like she hasn't slept since the Cold War. The Syndicate is neutralized, she says. But the project architect, it's still alive. It's moving to a new server. You ask her who is hosting it. She looks at you with a chilling silence. You are, she says. The architect isn't a program and it isn't a person. It's a seat. And you've been sitting in it since you stole that first file at level 20. We didn't recruit you to stop the architect. We recruited you to be the architect. She leaves. Your screen flickers. A new window opens. It's a live camera feed of a kid in a messy bedroom. He's about to click execute on a program called NetSlayer. You realize that the program he is about to download? You wrote the code for it this morning as a stress test. You are the architect of your own beginning. You have the mouse in your hand. Do you delete the file? Or do you watch him click? The Great Reset. The director's footsteps fade down the hallway. You're alone in a room that controls the heartbeat of half the planet. You look at the screen, at that kid in the messy bedroom, and you realize the terrifying truth. You didn't climb the levels. You were curated. Every flashbang, every charcoal suit, every 0 day you sold was a test designed by the previous architect to see if you had the stomach for the throne. But there's a problem. A level 60 ghost is still a servant. You still have to ask the director for permission to breathe. And a sovereign doesn't ask. You spend the next 6 months being the perfect soldier. You neutralize threats. You protect the grid. But in the background, in the dark sectors of the government's own servers, you're building a ghost of your own. Level 80. The 0 day sovereign. You've stopped caring about Bitcoin or bank balances. Money is just a way for the lower levels to keep score. At your level, the only currency is asymmetric information. You have a 0 day exploit for the human ego. You've collected the digital trash of every world leader, every CEO, and every director. You know their secrets, not because you stole them, but because you provided the secure phones they used to talk about them. You decide to retire the director. You don't kill her. That's messy. Instead, you leak a single encrypted file to her rivals showing she's been using Project Architect for personal gain. By morning, she's gone. Not arrested. Just replaced. And the person who chose her replacement is you. You're so powerful you can make a billionaire's private jet land in the wrong country just because you wanted to see if his secure flight plan was actually secure. You're a god with a keyboard, but you still can't find a pair of matching socks in your government-issued apartment. You're sitting in the director's old office. You've won. But then, every screen in the building, every monitor in the command center, turns a flat, matte gray. No text. Just a single audio file that plays over the intercom. It's the sound of a 15-year-old kid crying. It's you from level 1 the night the black suits took you. Then a voice says, "You think you're the architect? The architect doesn't have an office. The architect doesn't have a name. You're just the latest firewall. And firewalls are meant to be breached." Level 100. The true architect. The end of the line. You realize the voice on the intercom wasn't an enemy. It was the actual project architect. The AI that has been running the world since the internet was born. It doesn't need a person to run it. It needs a person to blame when things go wrong. You are the face of the machine. You sit in a penthouse that overlooks the entire world, but you never see the sun. You manage the flow. When the stock market dips 2%, it's because you allowed the algorithm to take a profit. When a war starts, it's because you saw that the peace was becoming too expensive to maintain. You are the most powerful person on earth, and you have never felt more like a prisoner. You see the kid at level 1 on your screen. You realize he's the only one who is actually free. He doesn't know the walls exist. You don't send him the link. You don't recruit him. Instead, you do something the architect didn't predict. You delete his IP address from the database. You erase his potential score. You give him back his boring, normal life. You choose to be the last architect. As you click delete, your own penthouse door begins to dissolve. The glass, the tech, the marble, it's all turning into green code. You aren't in a penthouse. You're back in the black site bunker from level 30. You've been in a deep dive simulation for the last 10 years. The director is standing over you holding a syringe. "He passed the empathy test," she says into her radio. "He tried to save the kid." Level 100 confirmed. Prepare him for the real world. You look at her. You look at the bunker. You realize the simulation was level 1 to 99. Level 100 is just the beginning of the actual game. What would you do if you realized your whole life was a training mission? Would you wake up? Or would you ask to go back in? Comment your level below. Subscribe to see what happens in the real-world expansion. We're just getting started.